So last summer I did a video about repossessions are back because temporarily due to the whole COVID mess, they had been, they had either not, companies had been giving people some leeway, not been doing repossessions, but we're starting to see an uptick, excuse me. Well, now seeing a big uptick on repossessions. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about because repossessions, and I realize most people who get a car repossessed have never had a car repossessed, so they're not really aware of just how serious it is when you miss your car payments. Some people they like, I missed like 3, and I'm like, you've missed 3, and they still haven't picked it up. Like, you're really lucky. Excuse me. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the repossession process in Georgia. So first of all, if you're a day late on your car payment, legally, they can pick up your car. Now, lenders usually don't do this, but they can. So when you've missed like 2 months, 3 months, oh yeah, the repo person is most definitely getting a call to come look for your car. So if you get behind on your car, you do not need to stick your head in the sand about it, okay? That is not going to be helpful. And oh, by the way, I see some people call me and say, well, I'm in Alabama or I'm in Ohio, so they don't know where the car is. Hiding a car is a really bad idea, because if you hide it for too long, they will file criminal charges against you, and then that is no joke. So yeah, I mean, some folks are like, well, I put it in my garage and they can't, and it's true, they can't breach the peace. They can't open up your garage and come take the car out. That's true. But if you do that stuff too long, they're going to file criminal charges against you for conversion of property. And then that takes on a whole other ugly aspect. So let's just talk about repossession in Georgia. Most of the time you get behind on your car, they're going to send you a letter, a text, an email, and saying, hey, you've missed it. Call us. We can, let's try to work this out. So you should try to call them and work something out. That's the best thing you can do. So if you miss, something happened to the car, I needed to repair it and I couldn't afford it. Most of the time, most car companies, some even have a policy where they will let you skip one payment if you make a request, if there's an emergency. But even if they don't, you can say, well, can I pay an extra $100, for the next 3 months or 4 months, whatever. But you can try to work out a payment plan so you can get caught back up. Most car companies, they want you to keep the car because they love making all that money on interest on you. So they want you to keep the car, but they don't want you to not pay for it. So call them, try to work something out. Now, if you've not done that, and now we're talking about, 2 months, 3 months, first of all, I'm always amazed at the folks that they've been basically ditching the car person for some people 6 months, and they have all their stuff in their car. They have their expensive sunglasses. They have, I guess nowadays most of us don't have CDs. You just have, everything's on our iPhone, whatever. But they keep stuff in their car. They keep, just equipment, things in their car when the repo man is looking for their car. And that is just not a good idea because, and I'm not saying all repo people are like this, but a lot of times when your car gets picked up, your valuables sometimes will not be there when you go to pick up your car. So it's a really good idea to try not to get your car repossessed, and you've left stuff in it. If you are going to try to play smart and hide your car and try to dodge the repo person, do not keep stuff in your car. I mean, there needs to be nothing in your car, because if it gets picked up, yeah, there's a good chance there's going to be stuff that's not going to be there. And by the way, I'll have clients that will get their car back. That's one of the great things about bankruptcy. Even if it gets picked up by the repo person, we can get your car back. But sometimes clients will call me and like, yeah, but I had this in there and I had money and I had blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you can file a claim against them in state court. You can. But how are you going to prove it? How are you going to prove that they took it? That's fighting a losing battle most of the time. Good luck. And you can, like I said, you can file a claim in state court. You can have your day in court, but if you don't have proof of it, nothing's going to happen. So if you do know you're behind on your car, don't keep your stuff in the car. And then people will call me. She's like, "Oh yeah, my purse, everything." I'm like, "You shouldn't be leaving your purse in your car anyway, ever, 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 ever. Especially if you live in Atlanta. Goodness, no, you don't leave anything in your car." I've lived here since 96, and that was like the first thing I learned was don't leave anything in your car. But if your car does get repossessed, what's going to happen is the car company is going to have it towed to a lot. And when it gets towed to a lot, it is going to stay at that lot until your car company then gives them an order to take it to auction. And at the auction, they will sell your car at auction. And then, and by the way, just one thing. Sometimes people think that the car auction is like, oh, they're going to get the highest value. Oh, no. Why do you think everybody wants to go to car auctions to buy cars? It's because they sell them dirt cheap. So they will sell your car at a car auction. They will get much, much, much less than what the car is actually worth. And then they're going to subtract what they got for it, the little amount that they got for it, they're going to subtract that from the contract amount they should have gotten from you. And then you get a bill for the difference. And that is, they come after you, they sue you. And so now you owe all of this money on a car that you no longer have. It's called a deficiency balance. And yes, there's some rules about how they can collect it and notify and all that stuff. If you go to my website, I have all that on my website. But most car companies will follow that procedure because they want to get their deficiency balance against you. So if you are unlucky enough to have your car repossessed and you want to get it back, what do you do? Or even if you don't want to get it back, but you don't want to be stuck with its deficiency balance, what do you do? So bankruptcy can actually help with both of these scenarios. So let's say you want to get your car back. They pick up the car, and most people, sometimes people think it was stolen. It rarely is that, but anyway, they'll think it's stolen. They pick up your car, and then if you want to get it back, we can file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Now we file the Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and what that does is that prevents them from selling it. Okay. Now, as soon as we file the case, here's the process. Because some folks will call me like Monday morning. They're like, my car got picked up. I need to file. Cool, we can do that. We can get you filed the same day. But, and they're like, okay, can I get my car back today? No, you're not. Because they're going to have, the car company is going to need at least 24 to 48 hours to issue a release. Because the car company has to send a release to the folks that are holding your car to say it's okay to give it back to you. And so, most of the car companies we work with are really, really good. It's 24 hours. We get the release and we tell you, okay, you can go pick up your car here. You can go pick up your car. Perfect. But you have to understand that you're still going to have a minute where you're going to have to Uber, because once the car gets picked up, it's going to take a minute to get it back. So you may have a day or two of Ubering, which, that cuts into your budget while we're getting the release. So keep that in mind. One of the good things about Chapter 13 bankruptcy is if you've had your car for so long, we are able to actually cram down your car value to the actual value. So if you are underwater on your car, it's a great deal because we're cramming it down to actually just the value. And usually, even if we can't cram down the value, we can still cram down the interest rate. So if you've got one of those horrendous like 29.5 interest rates, something like that, we can usually cram it down. Right now we're looking at cram downs around 5.5%. So that can save you a ton of money too. So Chapter 13 can help in that way. And it basically lets us just restructure. We can restructure your debt, and you can do a repayment plan over 5 years. Now, let's say your car gets repossessed and you're like, I don't care. I couldn't afford it. I bought something that was just way too much for me. Or I bought a lemon, and it is what it is, but I bought a lemon. I get it. But they're still going to come after you for the deficiency balance. That is not going away. And on top of it, you now have on your credit anyway a repossession. So you've already taken a ding at this point. If you do not want to get sued for the balance that they owe, and if you're just, sometimes I'll see folks, and this is always strange to me, they're having all this financial trouble. They're getting sued, their car or whatnot, but okay, the car gets picked up, but they just don't do anything. And instead, they wait and they start building their credit back up. And then right as their credit is getting back up, they get sued for the balance. Credit goes boom, and then they get a judgment or they get a garnishment. So if you know that, you're going to let that car go back, you should really think about filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, because at least a Chapter 7 bankruptcy will just wipe out that balance. Now you have to qualify for it, and that's something we'd have to do a consultation with to see. But a lot of people in the scenario, the reason they're not paying their car payment is because they can't afford it. So usually they can qualify, for the income requirements for Chapter 7. So either way, if you've had a car repossessed and you want to keep it 13, don't want to keep it, you can do a 7. And at least that way you can do the 7, and then, you're only in a Chapter 7 usually about 4 months. When you come out, you can immediately start rebuilding your credit. So, usually for most of our people, it takes maybe 12 months coming out of the bankruptcy to see their credit at a good credit score. So that's just what I wanted to comment about repossession. We process a lot of these every week. And I realize, like, when you get stressed, a lot of people they just put their head in the sand. But especially repossessions, there's so many bad things that can happen about it, and not everybody. I don't want to scare people about, oh, they're gonna steal all of my stuff if my car gets repossessed. There's a lot of great repo companies out there that they don't. Everything is still there. But sometimes there's not, and I have folks tell me, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. Can I sue them in bankruptcy court? No, bankruptcy court isn't going to be where you sue them for that. That is going to be a state court matter, and again, you can, but how do you prove that? So try not to get your car repossessed. If you start falling behind on your car, talk to your car company. See if you can work something out, and if they can't propose something that you're going to be able to do, come just talk to us about a Chapter 13 and see how we could restructure the car loan, possibly save you thousands of dollars just on interest alone. But talk to us and see what we can do about restructuring it through a 13 plan. If you have any questions whatsoever about bankruptcy, please don't hesitate to reach out. Oh, forgot. I do have a checklist. So if you look in my description below, I have a checklist in terms of what you should do if you fall behind on your car, or if you've had a repossession. I love checklists. I tell everyone that, but I do like checklist so that at least if this does happen to you, you kind of have a guide, so you can go through and say, okay, this is how I'm going to deal with it, and it gives you a decision-making tree, so to speak. So if you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. Our firm is super easy to schedule an appointment with. I mean, literally, you just go on the web. If you do not like speaking to people to book appointments, I don't like speaking to people to book appointments. I like to do everything online. If you want to do it online, no problem. The description below, I have a link. You can click on it. You can talk to me today if you want to. Otherwise, you can call, you can email, the traditional methods of booking an appointment. You can do that. But this is all we do. So we've been helping folks in Georgia for over 20 years. And I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have about bankruptcy or repossession here in Georgia.